Alright everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you something absolutely insane for PvP, something that you might want to try at home as well, something that you can try in fact, because you don't need to use any paid artifacts, any paid mounts, or any paid back accessory. And yes, that's the truth. You will see that. Stay until the end, guys, because that build that I'm going to show you is absolutely insane. And I can beat Martial Sages, very tanky Martial Sages, using that build. You are gonna see, this is absolutely insane. But right before getting into it, guys, I have to talk about Aptoide very quickly. If you don't know what is Aptoide, basically, that's the equivalent of the Play Store and the App Store, but they are taking less fees at the end and they are giving you some cashback after every purchase. If you want to start getting some cashback, you just need to download the game and play the game through the Aptoide store. You have a link in the description of all my videos. So basically, if I want to purchase that pack, I need to spend 110 euros. You have that new interface showing you the price of the pack on the left, you have the payment methods on the right, and you have the cashback, the total cashback you will have after purchasing that pack here. All right, so you can see that it is written that I'm using the code legend. This is my own promo code written on the right of the screen of all my videos. Just need to type the code here, then submit. You have that green thing here showing you that the promo code is enabled, and then you have 5% extra cashback on the total price. All right, don't forget to log in here before doing anything else. You need to use your Google account. Now, if you play the game on iOS, you can't use Aptoide directly, but there is a solution. You will find a link in the description below to play Legend of Mushroom through the Aptoide cloud. You need to log in using your Google account and then use your Legend of Mushroom account. Every time you will want to purchase something in-game, Aptoide will load and you will start getting some cash back. Don't forget to use the code LEGEND to get 5% more, and don't spend too much. Remember that this is only a mobile game. Alright, back to it. Let me first show you which items I'm talking about, then I'm gonna show you some fights in PvP, and after that I will show you the detail of the build, alright? So let's get into it, guys. Alright, so first of all, these are the things that I am using, okay, but we don't really care. We want to show you the items. I'm using that. This is what I'm using in PvP, guys, and it is working absolutely perfectly well. This is not the best artifact to use with that build though, but you can reproduce that because you are forced to have that back accessory and that artifact here, because both of them are coming from a lucky spinner and you can save your mushroom coins. Look at that. For example, this is the amount I have at the moment, 700 almost, and I'm saving everything until I have another one that is increasing my global defense. For my build, the global defense is absolutely insane. You will see that a bit later during the video, so stay here, guys. So I'm coming back here, all right? That amount, you can get it for free just by farming the rush events like this one here. Over time, you are gonna get some Skyrider passes, and you can purchase this one for a 30 Skyrider pass, right? This is one of the best mounts in the game, in fact, but you need to use that mount with the red spore here. When the red spore is level 100, you are gonna deal insane damage right at the beginning of the battle, because basically when it is level 100, the game considers that you are starting the fight with 40% max HP, even though you still have your 100%. It is considering that you have 40% remaining on your character, alright? So if I show you the mount now, you are getting some more attack speed, energy regen speed, and pile attack speed increased by 44% every 10 seconds, stacking up to 6 times, alright? But at 6 stacks, or when HP are below 40%, so it is triggered directly at the start of the battle. If you have the red spore level 100, you stun all enemies for 1.5 seconds and you are reducing their damage resistance by 10% until the end of the battle. So during the entire battle, you have that huge advantage given by the mount. And that's absolutely insane. I already showed that in the previous video, and now you are gonna see it in action when you have the red spore level 100, because this is something new on my account. It does so well in PvP, and look at the stats you are getting over time during the battle. If you can stay alive 1 entire minute, with that you are getting an insane amount of extra stats in battle, and you are getting your skills back very often, alright? And you can use that with the talents that are doing something. This one here on the Fury, so over time you are getting more crit rate, more attack speed, so it is even better, alright? So without further ado guys, let's get in PvP and let me show you what it did versus Mass here. These are his stats. 2,549 billion HP, more than 4,000 million defense, a lot of attack by the way, and if we check the rest, he has like 3,700% crit resistance, which is insane. Absolutely insane. And if we check the rest, 40% ignore counter, and he has almost 10% regeneration. So that's one of the strongest tanky builds you can have in the game. And he's using the Pepe artifact, so he has another defense in battle, so he can survive a lot. But you are gonna see the damage I can release. Counter damage res, this is not maxed out, so he could tank more, my damage more than that, but yeah, it is still pretty high, and the final damage res is at 48%, and he has 2,000 block. So the block is increasing, kind of increasing his damage resistance, alright? So, let me show you the result, guys. And this is amazing, so look at that. This is what happened when I used all the 3 items that I showed you before, alright? So at the beginning of the battle, you don't have any damage, but don't worry because I can stay alive in battle. I'm gonna explain to you how I can stay alive, because you can see here that I'm almost not taking any damage at all. In fact, this is thanks to one stat. I'm gonna show that to you right after the battle, alright? So you will understand that. I'm using the clone. The clone is very important here, and now I can start dealing some damage, okay? Look at how much damage he is taking right now. That is insane, but now he has the shields again. I can't break the shield or it's taking a lot of time, and during the shield I can't reduce his healing effect, so he is healing a lot. So this is how the martial sages are working. They wouldn't be that efficient today if the healing block was working during the shields. But fortunately for them, it is working like that, so they can heal a lot and they can basically beat a lot of players. Look at the damage here! That was absolutely insane, that was wild. Past 1 minute, because now all my stats are at the maximum, because I was able to survive 1 entire minute. And look at that, he is almost dead. And I am half HP here. Am I gonna make it? Look at the damage he is taking. I am a Warbringer. I'm dealing some counter damage versus a Martial Sage. One of the most tankier builds you can find in the game. Alright, that is close to the end of the timer. But look at that. I'm gonna make it. He's dead. That is insane, but right before continuing, I want to show you when I'm using the artifact of my choice. Like, I'm using the Pixel Sword, and just so you know about the efficiency of that build, this is not that fight though. Wait, this is the fight right behind. I'm using exactly the same build, but I just replaced the artifact. Now I'm using the Pixel Sword, and you will see the efficiency of that weapon here. The first hit dealt a lot of damage already. You are gonna see during the battle the next 2 Pixel Sword attacks. Alright, no, here I had no damage at all, so forget about what I said. But the next Pixel Sword is gonna release a lot of damage normally. So look at that, now I have my clone, I can start dealing some damage, and now look at that, the damage, and the Pixel Sword is coming. Wow! He's already dead! That is absolutely wild, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna explain to you why it is working like that. You are gonna see, this is weird, the build I have. If I go to Class Awakening, I have no attack, no crit damage, no counter, no HP, no crit resistance. Everything is in my defense. it's increasing by a ton my defense. So basically, I'm gonna show you the stats and you are gonna see the defense increase given by the scrolls, alright? 6,251 million. This is my current final defense. So now if I'm going here, if I reset it from 6,200, I'm losing more than 2,500. That is absolutely insane. The defense you can have through the scrolls is absolutely wild. So I'm putting everything in here and let me explain to you why my defense is increasing my damage. So basically, if I go on my class here, you have the class skill. Every 15 seconds you can cast that. But I have a lot of regen, so I can cast it more often during the battle. So you are reducing the counter damage rate of the target by 40% for 8 seconds. But then you have more defense the more the attack your character has, and you have more attack the more the defense you have on your character. So with a lot of defense on your character, you are tankier versus martial sages, and you deal more damage. That is insane. For 8 seconds here. Wild. And the class is getting more defense with that skill as well, and more counter multiplier, counter damage, and you are dealing some more damage as well. The less the HP you have, for every 10% HP loss, you have more attack. So one more time with the red spore, this is very, very interesting for the build. That is wild. So basically, if I show you the main stats of my character, I have only 7,000 million attack. I could have 10 million, like just if I switch my build, if I show you the one I'm using with the 2-beat DPS classes, basically, it's completely different. You see, I have close to 10,000 final attack, and if I show you the rest, counter multiplier, 74,000, and the crit damage at 10,000, alright? So let's go back to the other build now. 2-beat martial sages here. Look at that. I have less than 9,000 crit damage now instead of 10,500, something like that. I still have the same counter multiplier, but look at these stats now. Yeah, this is insane. There is something that I want to say about the defense, though. It seems to decrease the damage based on max HP and the damage based on the basic attack, in fact. But it is somehow not reducing the other sources of damage. Like, if you are trying that versus another DPS class, don't expect to take less damage, in fact. It is just almost not working. I just don't know exactly how it works, but probably it is reducing, subtracting the final attack of the target. So if the target has like 10,000, you are not gonna reduce it by a lot. I don't know exactly how it is working, but the formula behind is weird, but it is working very well versus tanky players, alright? So let me show you the full build now, okay? So basically, the most important things are the things that are increasing your defense, alright? So let me talk about the items first. The back accessory, you can get it through a lucky spinner. It's increasing your defense up to 20% over time during the battle. And when you have the defense maxed out, you are getting 10% attack increase as well. So this one over time in battle, when you're using that build, is absolutely great to beat tanky players, alright? Amazing back accessory. So then, let me show you the mount again so you know about it. This one. Let me find it here. So as I said, you are getting more attack speed, energy regen speed, and pal attack speed during the battle, and it's increasing by a lot, up to 24% after 1 minute in battle, and you are decreasing the damage resistance of the target by 10% until the battle ends right at the beginning of the battle. That is absolutely insane. And for the artifact, generally I'm using this one, and it is super efficient versus martial sages because every time it hits, it breaks the shield. It breaks the shields. And it deals a crazy amount of damage, and that can crit, so yeah, that is absolutely wild. So I am saving that on my character. For the cards now, something more that is very important, this combination, because the first one here that you can purchase in the shop, or you can get it for free if you are lucky, you can get more attack and a lot of more defense for the battle. That is important. The butterfly does the same. It's increasing by a lot your final defense in battle. And this one is increasing your counter damage, counter damage by a lot as well. So that combination is amazing for that kind of fight. Alright? The avian, one more time, the avian is very important. First of all, let's talk about the skill of the avian. He does two different things in battle, at random in fact. Every 5 seconds, he's gonna throw an arrow to a random target. It can be your character, it can be the opponent. When he is targeting your own character, he's gonna decrease the defense by 30%, but he will convert that defense into some attack. 3 times the amount of defense decrease. So the higher the defense on your character, the more the attack you will get on your character, alright? 30%. I have a 6,000 defense at the moment, so it would give to me a 2,000 multiplied by 3, so 6,000 more attack to my character. That is absolutely insane, okay? 6,000 more attack for 5 seconds. Imagine the damage I have with that. When it procs, I can release insane damage, and when it's targeting the opponents, it's dealing some damage, just a tiny bit damage that can crit by the way, but it's reducing the final damage rate of the target by an extra 10%. That is wild. Pair that with the mount I'm using, you can reduce by 20% the final damage resistance of the target. That is huge, a wild combination. That avian is a must-have if you are using a Warbringer build. If you don't have it, try to use a Firefly instead to increase your damage with the same affixes. You have no speeding, so you reduce the duration of the skills of the opponents. That is very efficient in all situations for all fights in PvP, alright? Then Rage bonus, the best one to increase your crit damage, and Reflect counter, the best one to increase your counter damage. Then you have this one, just an extra one to increase your global counter damage. That would be even better if instead of this one, I could have another legendary affix. Let me just show you the one I'm talking about. Reverse control, this one. Global counter, so I would have the same amount plus some global basic attack, which means that I will deal more damage with the pixel sword and the basic attack. So this one would be perfect instead of the other one. So I need to work on that. I'm gonna do that later. Then, so for the rest, the scrolls, everything into the defense here. Then for the souls, it's a bit more balanced. I have a bit more attack, it's increasing my healing rate as well. I'm getting some heals during the battle, it can help as well. This one almost the same level to increase my skill crit damage. The counter damage is at 70, but you can balance these three, you're gonna have the same results at the end. The crit resistance is useless against the martial sages, so I could just reset this one and increase the other stats to have even more efficiency in battle. But I have this one to 50 to beat other players, other kind of classes. I'm forced to do that because we don't have any sets yet, so yeah, forever we are gonna have to wait for getting some sets here, but whatever. The defense soul is not increasing by a lot your final defense here, but you still want to have some points in there. And you want to have some HP, of course, a level 66 here for me, so this is the kind of repartition I would use, alright? Don't even know if repartition exists in English, but whatever, you know what I mean. For the relics, I'm using the red spore here, this one for my crit rate, this one for the worldly snare, 100 slashes, sorry. Very important skill, so you have more duration, more resistance during the battle. This one to increase the damage of the clone, that is very important. The clone deals a lot of damage in that kind of fight, so you want to use that. And this one to increase your attack in battle, this is the best you can use for that kind of situation. For the skills, these are the ones. Blitz assault every time, 100 slashes every time. Then it depends the opponent you have in front, but you want to increase your attack. You have a bit more damage when you're using the tornado instead of the worldly snare here. You want to use the smoke bomb because generally the martial sages are not cleansing, so you have still more damage against them. And the clone is gonna tank some damage for you and deal some more damage for you, so that is very important as well. For the pals, the Hydro Sprite, for the skill regen during the battle, the more you have, the better. Then this one, because you want to increase the attack speed of the target to release more counter and decrease the counter damage and the combo damage received on your target and the final attack damage as well. Then you want to increase your counter and counter damage with the toothpaste here. Your crit damage is increased by a lot thanks to the treasure dragon, and this one to decrease by a lot the final crit resistance of the target. This is one of the best to increase your damage against tanky classes. What about the rest? For the ancients, this is optimized for my class. right? If I show you the final global counter damage, I'm getting 154%. This is almost the max you can have. Basically, if I take that rune, you want to have counter damage as main and global counter as a secondary stat. I have the max, all the procs into the global counter here. It requires a lot of time and a lot of green potion and a crazy luck, right? It took me a crazy amount of time, but this is what I have. For this one, pile damage res. For the DPS class, it is great to have that. Otherwise, if you have one that is increasing your basic attack damage res, that might be better to face Martial Sages. Global counter damage plus 25%, all the procs in here. Crit damage as main here, mandatory. And one more time, all the procs into global counter here. Here, all the procs into global counter damage, same here 27% and same here 25%. Double crit damage set, one global counter set. Very important, that is absolutely optimized here. So then, I'm gonna show you the talents right at the end. For the Divining Path, these are the stats I have. Crit rate 13%, I'm at 84% at the moment. Because I made a mistake, here I have some combo instead of 7% crits, and so I'm stuck at 84%, so that could be even better in the future. I need to work on that. I need to have some luck to have another Counter-Strike and crit rate here. I'm gonna get that over time, so my build is gonna be even better, alright? So if I go back here, I have 2,500 pierce, and this is the main stat you want to try to have, and some ignore block if you can. Basically here, it means that I am ignoring 25% of the counter damage resistance of the target, so that is insane. I have way more damage thanks to that, alright? So Counter-Strike, crit rate, and pierce or ignore block. But the pierce is gonna be better because it can work on other classes as well. Not all the classes in game have some block, alright? So pierce over the ignore block. Basically, if you want to see what I have exactly, crit rate, a purple here, I got a yellow, I got another purple here, so I can have way more, but I'm gonna work on that later. Once this one will be unlocked, and that I will have a lot of stats here, but I'm far away from that. Here, I got a yellow pierce, I got a red pierce, another red pierce, and another yellow here. Got some block and extra stuff, so it is helping me as well. Finally, right before the talents, one more time, I want to show you the Guardian that I am using. I have two oranges because I am trying them. This one, it is not written anywhere before you get it, but if you check the stats, no, it's here. When you want to start it up, you can see the tenacity penetration, and the tenacity. This one has way more base tenacity penetration than this one there. You see? The difference is huge, and basically the more the tenacity penetration you have on your Guardian, the more the damage your Guardian is going to inflict on the other's Guardian. So you want to use that versus Martial Sages, the Domain Hunter, because you can kill faster the opponent's Guardian and you are reducing his damage resistance by doing that, and this one can also reduce the healing effects of the target by 30% for 3 seconds, so it helps a lot. I'm gonna replace this one in the future. I'm gonna put it into this one because my goal is to do that, in fact. So I feel like the Domain Hunter is a bit more efficient. And for the remodels, I'm trying to have a more global tenacity penetration, more Counter-Strike, and more final damage boost, and some tenacity as well. So this is what I am aiming for my Guardian. And finally, the last part of the build, no, the talents, but right before the prayer statue, global counter everywhere. I'm lacking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% only, so it is almost maxed out. Very nice. And my talents. So the talents on the Fury, in the right order, you want to go on the left first or on the right? No, you want to go on the right first because you have the crit damage there and you have the counter damage. So take these and then the HP, attack, and defense. You have that note at the end. When you fall down below 20% HP, I haven't broke that versus mats. But some Martial Sages are less tanky but deal more damage, so if it procs, it's gonna help me to deal even more damage before dying. So this one is important, especially if you are using the Crescent mount or the Cheetah mount, or if you are using the Wolf, Cinder Wolf mount. Right. So crit damage, counter damage, HP attack and defense. You have some basic attack damage here to have some extra damage, and you have some more heals for every 5 counter attacks. So that helps a lot. If you are facing a tanky Sacred Hunter, the Ignore combo might help you as well. And you have the Ignore Evasion. This is a bonus that you want to max out at the end because the Martial Sages are going to try to have a lot of evasion. So the more the Ignore Evasion you have at the end, the better. But you don't care at the beginning, alright? Then you go on the left because you have some extra counter damage here. You have the healing amount and healing rate. Don't focus on that early game. You want to have some more at the end to optimize your build when you have all your damage maxed out. You have some crit resistance here. One more time, it is useless versus Martial Sages, but it's gonna decrease a bit some extra damage you should have taken. Healing here to have some more regen, attack, HP, and defense. You have some more Ignore combo on the left, and you have this one. So over time, you are getting more stats. Better. At the top here, 2 scenarios for me. The Martial Sages, I want to decrease the counter damage I'm taking from them, and for the Sacred Hunter, I'm doing the same for the combo here. But attack, HP, and defense first. Then on the Sorcery, you want to go... No, you want to take the Archery in secondary, because you have some crit damage here on the left, and you can take that note to have even more crit damage, right? Then you have some more healing and healing amounts if you want to optimize your build later, and some more Ignore Evasion always at that node here on the left and on the right on every single branch, right? Then at the top here, to have some more attack, HP, and defense, and the same comment as for the Fury tree, you have the counter damage res and the combo damage res on the right here. Then on the Sorcery, you want to take that node to increase your attack every time you cast a skill in battle. Right? Then the Wands, very important to beat Martial Sages. They have a lot of regen and HP attack and defense. You don't care about the rest, or you can take the Ignore counter. It works well versus Martial Sages, so take that. Ignore Evasion one more time if you want to have some more. Then go on the right, because you have the skill, energy, regen, speed here. Very important for long fights. Crit resistance if you want to max out your character, and you have the Ignore counter here one more time. One more time, if you want to get a bit more heals in battle, you can take this one and max it out, so you are going to have some heals every time you are going to use a skill. It can help you to survive a bit longer. Ignore Evasion one more time. On the last one, you want to go on the right because you have the wand here, and if you want to max out your character, one more time you can increase your PAL base attack speed and take this one, so you are going to receive more heal in battle. And I see that I still have some feathers left after all of these. So if I go back on the Sorcery, maybe I can try to increase my skill damage, or maybe I can try to have some more basic attack damage res. This is what I'm going to try to do. I think it's going to be good to do something like that. So I'm going to work on that in the future, but this is my build, and it is working so well in PvP, guys. Alright? I don't have anything more to say. This is just awesome. And the fact that the items you need for that build are not requiring something crazy, this is very cheap if you want to try that build. So let me know what do you think about that in the comment below, guys. I am still working on the Beastmaster. I promise I'm going to do a video very soon on that. The progression, as I said on my previous video at the end, it is not perfect yet. It is far from being perfect, but I want to show you the progression I have with the Beastmaster. So I'm going to show you the detail of the build in one of the future videos, and then we are going to see the progression of the build over time when I will have a better stats. Stay tuned, guys. Have a really nice day, and see you on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.